Hello. Bit of a tough day today for me. Uh, just sort of fell out of it and no energy, and also really craving carbs because I'm starting the keto diet. But I do feel like a little bit better, like mentally, you could say. And I gotta talk about this. I came across so, some stuff about Jews. Dan Bilzerian, his interviews with Pierce Morgan and then Patrick Bet-David, and I was watching a little bit of the one with the Hodge twins too. But he's basically saying everything that is behind the thought dam. I think of it as a thought dam. I've known about this well, it's always been a joke. Like, this is such a huge part of everyone's life. So it was a joke when I was a kid. Calling calling people a Jew meant you calling them cheap, stingy, and also it was a joke because it was a topic that teachers and grown-ups took super seriously. So that's why it was like, oh, you Jew, and then everybody would be like, you said that? That's so funny. Like, it was like a pushing the envelope, edgelord type of thing when I was a kid. And then, and it was also, a joke, and then like a cool thing too, like Nazi zombies, killing Nazis. And, but the official thing that I heard in school, in social studies class, was that the Jews were a scapegoat, and this is sort of the official thing around the world, is that the Jews were a scapegoat. Hitler hated the Jews. The Jews didn't do anything wrong. They were just used as something to blame what was going on. And basically, that's the story or the programming or whatever you want to call it. That's what Dan said too in the interview. But I've known about it like more seriously for a few years anyway. Ever since I started going on 4chan, which I stopped going on 4chan because it was, it's got a lot of factual information, and it's really, but it's also kind of toxic on there, and so you can't really tell, with 4chan. I don't think it was good for my mental health to be on 4chan, but I did learn a lot. And one thing I kind of learned, was more of like the story, like the different things that that Jewish people or Israel have done and believe. That sort of is the stuff you can't talk about. That's why I say it's like a thought dam. And it's just really hot button topic. Divisive is another word. It can lead to like ostracization. It makes people uncomfortable. Makes people angry. It's it's a topic that people don't even want to touch. Um, I'm pretty sure they probably feel like fear around it for sure. But anyways, so Dan was saying all the facts that are kind of like, well, some of it maybe wasn't total fact. He said like I didn't know, I didn't exactly know about the Jews killed JFK thing. That's what he says. He says he believes that, and there's not much evidence for it. At least he didn't have much. Just that Jack Ruby, what used to be Jack Rubenstein, and that JFK was critical of the, I think, IPAC lobbyists in the government, and then he died right after. But he talked about the USS Liberty, which that one is, if you learn about it, it's how do I even put it? It's, I don't know if damning is the right word. It's really suspect. It's makes you question what the heck. But that one is super buried. Like, it's super buried. But if you do learn about it, you'll see that it was like an aggression by Israel against the U.S. That just kind of went away or something like that. Where they sunk a U.S. ship, where they killed a bunch of people on a U.S. ship, and they knew it was a U.S. ship. At least, I don't know the full story, but there's that, and then there's the stuff it says in their religious teachings, like that Jesus is in hell burning in a tub of human excrement, and I guess this is what Dan was saying. I don't know exactly if I don't know if it's probably in there, but that the Virgin Mary was a whore. Ooh, it's hard for me to even say that, but that's what apparently the Jews believe. But I saw one of the comments said that Dan failed to make the separation between Jews and Zionists, and I think this is a confusing point for me too, is Zionists, I think they don't necessarily represent all Jews, what all Jews think. So there's different Jews. There's some Jews that I don't favor all Jews. Like, this is a thing that Piers Morgan kept trying to get Dan to admit to, kept trying to get him to say. Like, he kept saying, do you hate all Jews? Do you hate Jews? Do you hate Jews? You sound like a Nazi. And I mean, yeah, this is where it starts to get like really heated. This whole topic is so heated. People get so angry. What was I gonna say? Oh, I like people like Gabor Mate. I think he's a good man. At least from what I can tell. But all his work on trauma stuff. You know, I think Jerry Seinfeld is funny. I don't necessarily think he's like a good person deep down. I don't know. But I think he's funny. He's entertaining. Like, there's videos out there of people interviewing Jews, like probably the more Hasidic Jews, or see, this is the thing, I don't know exactly, so I can't, and it's such a complicated topic. It's hard to get any kind of real footing, like you have to do a lot of research. But people interviewing Jews, the ones that have like the curly hair and the hats and they wear suits or whatever, And they're saying like everyone is a goyim. Everyone you see is a goyim. They are here to serve the Jews. And so it's like, yeah, this is what Jews believe. Like, they do believe that at least a certain amount of Jews, like a certain section of them, I don't know if it's all of them, they believe that people are like different, that there's different classes of people, where Jews are on the top. And this is what Dan was saying. He was saying, I believe in Jewish supremacy. Like, why is it that 2% or like less than 2% of the population has like, I don't know, such like an overrepresentation in business and in government? And it's just like, yeah, I mean, I've heard a counter argument to that is that there's an Irish overrepresentation too. Which, okay, maybe there is. It still doesn't account for some of the other things, like the Bolshevik genocide or whatever of like millions of Christians by Jews, and the I don't exactly know all of it, but it'd be a place to look into. But the Holodomor or something like that was another thing. And like, I mean, I know about this stuff. Like, I don't know if people know about it, but they just don't say anything. This is why I think there's a thought dam. Like, it just feels like thoughts only come so far and then they get deflected. You know, I saw a funny meme. It was like the privilege hierarchy or something, and like Jews were at the top, and then, oh no, it was the oppression pyramid. But it was funny because it was kind of true. And then there's like trans people, and then like BIPOC or whatever, and then at the bottom is like white people, and there's like layers in there that says like, you will never be this oppressed. It's like the Jews at the top. And I mean, I don't know. It's just, it seriously feels like there's a thought dam. Like, oh man, I don't know. It's how it affects me personally is, it feels like I can't say anything, which I struggle already with, feeling like I can't really say much. But it's like a topic that sucks in energy because I want to talk about it, and I don't know if other people want to talk about it too. But then it's like it all pings off, so we can't even discuss these things. Like, people are just like, oh my gosh. In Canada, yeah, people are so freaking tight-lipped and woke and quick to get angry, and like, to me it seems like people's signal detection system, if you know what signal detection theory is, it's like, at what point do you detect a signal out of noise? I don't know a ton about it, but it feels to me like people's signal detection system is like so set to detect any kind of controversy or conflict and like move away. It's funny. It's like, when I think about it, it's just funny, but I mean, it's, I don't think it's a good thing. I just think it's funny. Like, why is it so impossible for people to have conversations without getting super pissed. Or like, what really happens, especially up here in Canada, is people will laugh first, nervous laughter. It's like the most common thing I notice. And it's so weird because I notice that unless you're speaking in sort of like a tone, like a Canadian tone, and like people are like laughing but stuff's not funny all the time, like they're chuckling all the time, and I don't know if people have just like gone kind of crazy or what, but I mean, it kind of makes sense when you think about it, that people, I don't know, maybe it's like a psychological operation type thing. I haven't done a ton of research in those, but apparently there's something called psyops that happen. And it just, it takes away the flow of energy, I think. Like calmness, it gets in the way of that, because you can't even talk to people about things that you may be genuinely curious about. Like you just get scoffed at. I don't know. I feel like a lack of free speech is really not good for people. But that's you know, that's why I make these videos. I don't have really anyone to talk to much. You know, my brother, he just jokes around. He says, "The Jews," and yeah, I don't know. Like it's all fun and games when you're a kid, I guess, but or a teenager or whatever, but it kind of hurts your head when you realize how things work, you know? And you realize like oh, some of this stuff is real life, you know? Yeah. I mean, in the Bible it says in certain points, like Jesus is arguing, or that he is teaching God's love. Like he's healing people, he's preaching God's love, he's preaching the message of God. And the people who want to argue with him are the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And at certain points, well, eventually they kill him, but he rises again from the grave 3 days later. And at some points in the Bible, it says that the Jews are the children of the devil. It says things like the synagogue of Satan. Like, what I've heard is that, and kind of what I understand is that the Old Testament, you know, the Jews believe in the Old Testament too. Where the Christians and Jews differ is when Jesus arrived, and then Jesus fulfilled the Old Testament. Isaiah 53, that's one where it talks about Jesus is coming, and then, which is Isaiah 53 is in the Old Testament, and then the New Testament is all about Jesus on earth, God on earth. And him performing miracles, him teaching, him fulfilling what was written in the Old Testament. And so the Jews, they believe only in the Old Testament, and I think they have other holy books as well. Like, I think they called the Old Testament the Tanakh, and then they also believe in the Talmud. And in the Talmud, it says a lot of stuff like, and they believe in, I think, the Sanhedrin as well. It says stuff like it's okay to cheat non-Jews, and it says stuff like you're allowed to sleep with 3-year-olds. Like, I'm not making this up. It's in there. And so the Jews reject, I think, the New Testament. And yeah. And then the Islamics, I don't know a ton about this, but I know that Wesley Huff, or Wes Huff, showed that he made a good case for the Quran being false. So the Islamics, the Muslims who believe in the Quran, they say that the Bible, it was good, but it became corrupted as it is now, or something like that. So Wesley Huff disproves that. He shows that it's the same Bible, still translated from the same things they had in Muhammad's time. And in the Quran it says, listen to the Bible, believe what the Bible says. And then the Bible says to not listen to all like other books. At least this is what Wesley Huff was saying. So then if you think about that, then it means that the Quran is false. So yeah, really complicated topics. I'm just reading the Bible now for the first time, really. I've read a whole bunch of parts of it, but I'm trying to read it from front to back, doing Bible in a year, roughly. I'm not staying exactly on, but I'm making an effort to read the Bible in a year. And yeah, it's so important. Like, Bible teaches so much, and I'm a sinner. Like, I'm not perfect. I'm a sinner, like, huge sins with lust. But I put my life in the Lord's hands, and I confess my sins, and I try to live closer to God. And yeah, so Jesus says he's the way, the truth, and the life. So the truth is like reality as well. It gets strange and kind of confusing for sure, a lot of it. But truth, I think it's so important for us to speak truth. And that's why I'm just happy to see that Dan Bilzerian said that stuff about what I've known for a few years, like, and I've lost friends over that too. Like, I tried speaking my mind, and the whole cancel culture, what I call a thought dam, is so real. I said at one point, I was a lot more, I don't know how to put it, but rash maybe with how I said stuff. And I just told, like, a friend, and I told my girlfriend at the time, like, I hate Jews. And it's wrong. I think it's wrong to hate your enemies, because the Bible tells us to love our enemies. So it was wrong of me to say that. But anyways, my one friend stopped talking to me, and my girlfriend broke up with me. But I think we were gonna break up anyway. I have all kind of relationship problems, so yeah. But I mean, man, it's not always easy or fun being honest with what you're thinking. You can lose friends, you can lose relationships, but I think where you meant to have them, if you can't speak your mind, like, I don't know, there was no discussion either. That's the thing. It was just like so fast. So that really, I don't know. It's like that's part of, I think, like what's going on today. Like, people are so fast to pull away or drop you, or and that doesn't feel good. That feels like you can't trust well. And I mean, I think shared belief is really important. I think it's important to be able to like discuss stuff and have a respectful debate if it's something that people don't agree on, right? But no one wants to go into evidence. No one wants to spend time researching the other side. I think it was really nice when I was growing up in school. One of the things we did I thought was really nice was we did counter-attitudinal essays. Counter-attitudinal essays. So it is what it sounds like. You think of the opposite of what you believe about something, and you write an essay in favor of the opposite of what you believe. And I think it was like helpful because you got to practice thinking in opposing viewpoints. And then there's this other thing called like steel man. Instead of straw man, you can steel man a topic. And I think that's important too, as an exercise. Like, yeah, I guess it's just critical thinking type stuff. But when it comes to making a determination, you really have to weigh a lot of different things. And it actually it's really important, actually. Making up your mind about something is really important. And I think that's where actually a lot of the time I get kind of stuck is making up my mind about something. And then in action, yeah, I don't know. I think it can be related to nervous system regulation. It's really maybe exhausting. The amazing connectivity of everything, how something affects something else. Yeah, I think it's amazing and it's exhausting at the same time. Yeah. Things are so special, I'd say. Like, sometimes you get this feeling in your life that things are special. And I know that I got it a lot more when I was a kid. And part of feeling really depressed, because apparently, well, the doctor wrote I have refractory depression. Part of that is when you feel like things are not special. And yeah, this is what I'm talking about when I say that there's sort of a vibe or an energy to things. And I feel like the vibe and the energy is really killed in the modern day. But I think that when you're a kid, or when you're younger, you kind of have access to these different vibes or energy, and it's a really great thing. Like, I got one of the recent ones that I got that I can remember, is when I walked to, it was snowing outside, and I walked to the bank, and I just remember the sign looked really clear, and the snow I could see was falling, and it's just special moments. Some things just feel so special, like the order of things and the flow of things. And I think this is kind of like what we as people like to preserve and write down and put into book form, put into a movie form, many forms, but it's something we like, you know? And yeah, I just think that it's something that makes life feel like we want to live, and it's just this energizing feeling, and it's got to do with the flow of time, and it's got to do with the order of things, and it's got to do with what happened and what's going to happen and what we're moving toward, and the people that are around us and the people that we know and the things we're thinking. And it just is something that you can feel it. Yeah, I think it's so related to art. Maybe it is before art. I think maybe art is a capture of it, or a continuation of it, or something like that. But yeah, and I gotta say, like, other people are so important in this. I think other people are so important. Important means to carry weight. I think other people carry so much weight in this for us. And it's like, you just have to accept it. Like, I don't know, like, like, I think partly what is kind of miserable is trying to control other people, I talked about this, about love. Yeah, just love is gentle, it's kind, it doesn't try and control. Yeah. Right now I feel pretty good. Just speaking on this topic kind of raised my spirits a little bit, I don't know what's going on with the Jewish thought dam. I think it's good that people are talking about it. And there's so much support. It's just, I think that people don't really feel like they can talk about it. But if you look at comments and stuff, like, every comment was supporting Dan Bilzerian in that video. Pierce Morgan and Dan Bilzerian, every comment was supporting Dan Bilzerian. And they said, like, they were deleting, it said like 30,000, 50,000 comments were deleted. It's like, oh my goodness. Like, I don't know what's going on with the Jewish thing. I just think that more people are learning about it. The internet gives everybody so much information that it fries a lot of people's brains. It's kind of fried mine. My brain is kind of not working not working at top notch, but it works good enough. But that's for a few reasons though. But yeah, this Jewish thing, I don't know what to think about it fully. I just know that it causes a lot of people to be really angry, call you anti-Semitic so fast, call you just a bunch of names, really. But it says in the comments, someone says, but they never call you a liar. I mean, the actual stuff, like, it's important to look at the actual stuff of what's gone on, and to have discussions about it. I mean, I don't know if having discussions about it is so hard, you know? Like, I would love a respectful debate to be more prevalent in society. I wish we had debate halls, you know? There's not such a thing that really exists. I'm trying to make something, well, not quite a debate hall. It's more of a study hall on a certain topic, but so you wouldn't get too much opposing viewpoint, but with the Bible study I started. But yeah, I would love to see a nice, respectful debate hall, or just more things like that in society, because I think it'd be healthy for people, you know, have a large spectator audience. Okay, I'm out of time. And yeah, anyways, that's all.